All right, that's a look at a couple stocks on my radar that I think you should be keeping an eye on. Let's bring in Scott Bauer, the CEO of Prosper Trading Academy. He's joining us for a look at a few stocks he's got his eye on and thinks we should as well. Scott, welcome. I see you're dialed in on a couple travel stocks, Airbnb being one of them. They got an upgrade at BTIG to buy from neutral. They have the stock with a price target of 170. I'm looking at it right now, up about 0.5%, and well, 140-ish right now. We're talking 139.88. What are you watching here? It looks like they just found some support around the 130 level.
Also some pretty significant resistance right up above here, right around 144, 145. So, I'm not sure that this upgrade to me makes sense, at least from a technical standpoint, Ben. It's certainly a total reopening play, right? I mean, as people are going out and going on vacations and moving around and traveling more, then, Airbnb stands to benefit from that. However, when I look at the charts here, it is awfully bearish. If it can finally break through that 144, 145 level, which is really, it's the 50-day moving average, which has been significant resistance, then yeah, I can see that upside maybe 10 to 15% from there. But I think in the near term here, with everything hovering over us, the Delta variant out there, I don't see it. And I'm actually very cautious on that call that they made. And if anything, I'd be playing this to the downside right now.
All right, I've got that 50-day moving up. If we could switch to my daily chart here real quick, you can see it in the blue line Scott mentioned, and a good point there, Scott. This also coincides with the slide that they were on last week. Well, last couple of weeks, it looks like. We're talking about a 5-day slide from 150 down into this 130 area where I mentioned they found some support. Now, I do want to keep an eye on this one. Certainly something to keep an eye on, or something to watch here. As mentioned, you think, again, this may be topping pattern, or you see some resistance here. I can see that in terms of this one trying to roll over. But again, the recovery stocks have been something to watch. And along those lines, the airlines have been attracting some attention. I saw American Airlines reported quarterly results. EPS a loss of $1.69 a share. Revenue came in at $7.48 billion. They see third quarter capacity down 15 to 20% versus the third quarter of 2019, and third quarter sales down about 20% versus the third quarter of 2019. Those numbers there, though, you can see EPS less of a loss than expected.
Absolutely. But I think what you see across the board with all of the airlines, and these numbers are okay, but the business traveler is not coming back yet. Yeah. It's not there. And that's where the biggest ticket margins are. And so I think this is really tough. You see American, you see Delta, United, they all beat their estimate. Southwest kind of was mixed here. But even with the reopenings and increased travel, like I've said, the business traveler has not fully returned yet. In addition, just like many other industries, they're having major staffing shortages, which have hampered operations as well. So the stock certainly had a nice rebound off of that 200-day moving average, which was down at about 18.5, but met with stiff resistance here. I don't see a breakout anytime soon here. I would look for continued chop, continued consolidation. That being said, if you look at the option market today, heavy call option activity, especially in call options expiring tomorrow.
Interesting. That gives us something to watch here. And they recently have found some support as well on a test below the $20 level. If we could just pull up this daily time frame, because now that you mentioned that call option activity, I can in some ways understand why a nice bid coming into play here. If we can get some momentum. First of all, lower extreme and a well-defined upper extreme here in terms of this range they've been in since the end of February. But rejection of that lower level, it appears right now, at least until we take it out. And if we can build some momentum up through 23, 24, again, that opens up the door for a retest of the 26 area. So we'll keep an eye on this one as well to see if American Airlines can take off, currently down about 1.5%. But as mentioned here, a nice move off of those lows that we saw last week, or actually it was earlier this week, it looks like, down around $18. So Scott, how about Snap? They've got earnings on the close today. EPS expected to show a small loss, 2 cents a share. Revenue $838.70 million. What should investors be looking for to get excited about?
Well, that's a tough one. And let me just start by saying I was speaking with Oliver this morning about Twitter, and I'm actually bullish on Twitter. Snap, not as much.
Okay.
Sideways trade here. You look at the charts here, and there's definite sideways movement here for quite a while. A very, very defined trading range over the last year of like 50 to 70. And I see no reason why it's going to break out in either direction from that range right now. The market maker expected move for earnings here is right about $5.50. So if we get that one direction or the other, it still keeps this well within that range that it's been trading in. Now, there has been a slight bias to the upside recently since March. We've seen some, little bit higher highs and higher lows since March. I'm not a buyer going into the print here. However, if we do get a sell-off down to the 58 and a half area, that's absolutely an area that I would like to get long.
Okay, a stock that certainly, as Scott mentions, lost some of the momentum that we had seen into the highs earlier this year, up around 73.50. Currently trading down on the day, as you can see, by about 1.5% here right now as we speak. And again, Scott, I agree with you. One really tough to get excited about here. We'll wait for a breakout, and we'll check back in on this one. Something below 50-ish and above that 74, 75 area, something with conviction and follow through. Scott Bauer, appreciate you joining us, sharing your thoughts on a few names that we're seeing some dust settle in reaction to earnings, and a couple that are set to report. Scott Bauer, the CEO of Prosper Trading Academy, joining us this afternoon. We're going to